Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for DASIG. It's here, y'all. I know it says coming soon, but it's here now. And I'm excited, so delighted to bring back my pals behind DASIG. I'm talking about the writer Lauren Lola and my man, Kristian Kabuay. And I think I brutalized his name again. I was telling myself I was going to mess it up. But I did. And I'm so sorry, Kristian. But the book is finally here, y'all. I actually have my book right here, as well as my t-shirt. Y'all got to get all the swag, y'all, because we got to rep for the culture. Do it for the culture is dope. And I'm just going to bring him up now because I don't want to make a fool of myself any longer. I already messed up my man Kristian's name. Let me unpin myself. Air horns are going off. They're on the screen. Lauren Lola, Kristian. What's good, y'all? Great to see y'all.
Hey,
I'm sorry, I made an ass of myself already. I'm sorry, Kristian. Kabuay.
All good.
Kabuay.
Yes, there you go. Redeemed yourself.
Trying.
Just like in comic books, redemption.
Thank you. Hey, that's why I read them. Anyway, y'all, I'm so excited for y'all, man. It's here. The book is here. Shout out to Ponzi. Shout out to Jacob, the whole team, man. I know all y'all excited. Just finally, all this work. And just trying to make it happen, and now the people can see it, consume it, and know that it's here. The culture, we're ready, we're thirsting for it, and I know that's something that we all try to do individually, and it's so beautiful that now we have this that we can share and spread the wealth to everybody and get them informed, man, and get them inspired. That our people, our culture is so much more than what you see in like other mediums or the interpretations of our people. So I love it. So let's just start there right there. How are we feeling right now? What's the vibes? Lauren, let me know what's your vibes right now. I know I don't think you wrote comic books before this, and I know you recently are on the Lumpia team now and working with the Lumpia team. Shout out to Patricio. But I think this was like your gateway, right, into like comic books outside of screenplays.
In writing, yes. Because I think I might have mentioned last time that I did do consulting for Lumpia before I was actually a writer for them as well. And I also had done a little webcomic. But otherwise, yes, you're right. This is my first venture into writing for graphic novels and comics.
Dope. So how you feeling? What's the vibes, girl? Talk to
Mostly
me.
Tired. I'm so tired. But yeah, otherwise I'm feeling pretty good. I can't believe it's finally out. We had our launch event for over the weekend, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit. And of the amount that we were made available for it, most of them were sold. So that's a really good sign.
Hell yeah. Yes. Love it. Kristian, I know this is your baby. Some of you've been working on, and you brought Lauren on the project, got everybody involved. How are you feeling right now, brother?
Good. I mean, because this is one of the longest projects I've ever worked on, and I'm pretty impatient when it comes to my personal projects. But having a team, you have to learn how to work with each other, and we had disagreements, different creative visions, and different disciplines. And I think that we're able to put things aside and try and meet this goal. But I'm real good about it. Feel real good about it, and I just can't wait to talk about like the I'm kind of a nerd in terms of like the pre-production and the process and all of that, and not just the story, but there's a whole other story. I mean, the whole story of how this got put together could be a comic book or some workshop course that could be done.
I love that. I'm about that as well. So actually, being a nerd like you, we're going to dig into that. And I also will remind cats, y'all, as of this recording, it's been it's like a year since the last time I had both Kristian and Lauren on to talk about the project. So go peep out that last ShoPowSho episode. But for those that didn't, we're going to throw a little bit more of that into there. And maybe, some of the stuff that you both learned along the way, because I'm sure there was stuff that you didn't, you can try to plan things, but something's always going to go different or sideways in a project. Yeah. I think all of us know that full well as creatives, it don't always go like you think it's going to go. So let's go back to that. Let me throw it back at you, Kristian. You bring in Lauren on board, you bring in Ponzi, you bring in all these amazing folks on board to throw down. And Jacob, and I want to get into that because I find that very interesting how you flew him out there to film all of that and give that to Ponzi to work his magic to make sure you got that right. let's go back to you, and you don't have to dig in too much or as much as you want to, because we do have that last episode. But the pre-pro on DASIG.
Yeah. So originally the idea was to create an animation. I remember I was in LA for an event, and I was at Jacob's apartment. We were going to record something for his podcast, and we were just talking. I told him, hey, I have this idea, and I knew that the technology was changing in terms of animation, and we all know about AI and the controversies and the ethics and the socioeconomics around it. But I think us as creatives, we've always been in technology, whether it's video games and Photoshop and iPads now, and every year it's like, oh, the industry's going to die, creatives are going to be a thing of the past. But I thought that now might be a time, we could put together a small team and probably create something. And we did scope it out. I did talk to a few funders and people that within the business, and Ponzi's a full-time animator, so he gave us some numbers, and I said, okay, cool, all right, well, we're not there yet, maybe in a couple of years, but let's take the Trece way, and much like a lot of their animations, we do a graphic novel first, and then let's see where we can go from there.
Oh, I dig that, the Trece model. Now with you saying that and having read the book finally, I can, well, obviously black and white, but just that makes sense. I feel that. So you bring on Lauren on board. Was the script all the way together in your head? Did you have like the basic points of the script? And I don't know how much you guys want to get into it without spoiling for those that haven't picked it up and read it like I have, and y'all obviously you're the creators of it. But what was that like? And then Lauren, that interaction to do your magic with the ideas that Kristian had.
Well, I'll start off with like what I handed off to Lauren. So what I had was an idea in my head for years, and then I actually then sat down and wrote it out. And I used the usual when I pitched it to Jacob initially, I used the storytelling, the story arc. And I think like the Pixar, every day did this until this happened, and then until finally, so I kind of used those basic storytelling models. And so I wrote a very rough idea, but then with some of the mission and vision of like what it should be, story wise, and then I handed that off to Lauren.
Okay, Lauren, talk to me. So getting that from Kristian, and where you went from there.
Yeah, so he gave me a treatment of just like a series of things he wanted to see happen, but there wasn't so much context for like what the themes are going to be, what the characters can be going through and struggling with along the way. So basically, the story elements were not there. So that's where I came in. But thankfully, there was just enough detail there to where it kind of serves as pockets for me to fill it in with what I felt would be fitting for not just the events that would be surrounding it, but just given what, I guess also selfishly what I wanted to see from the story as well. The kind of characters that I grew up watching and reading and wanting to put my own spin on that.
Got it. So for me, it's a warrior on the rise, or a warrior that hasn't found herself truly yet. And Datu is helping her find her way, if you will. And I really enjoy that. I think that will help connect. I think all of us, aspire for something. And I think that's a great connection for the audience to grab onto. One of the things that, so I don't know if that was part of what you really wanted to implement, Lauren, but I enjoy that. But one of the things that I'd like to bring up, if you don't mind, and I'm going to be very careful with spoilers. I'm not going to try and spoil anything, but we are talking about culture. So, it's part of the culture. There's some scenes where we're doing the tattooing, which I absolutely adore and love and need more ink myself. But, that's as we come of age, and then as we reach certain accomplishments as a part of that. I'm curious, what were some of the beats that you wanted to like insert in there? Like, was that a beat, and then describing certain things? I don't know, just maybe some things that we can talk about without spoiling, for people to, see and learn that they'll love from this.
Yeah, that was one of them. You know, myself being a traditional tattoo practitioner, I wanted to put that in there. And because there was probably maybe, I don't know, Lauren, maybe like five things that, you know, I kind of, hey, Lauren, we should do this, do this. And, you know, Lauren did a really good job of saying no and saying, oh, well, we got to keep the story moving, you know. And I said, okay, well, how about this? You know, that was like, you know, part of the negotiating and, you know, part of the story, because you know, Lauren really did a good job of, not just for me, but all of us. Like, you know, like Jacob wanted to put in more, you know, nuances with the Philippine martial arts stuff, but you know, we had to keep the thing going and the story continuing. But that was very intentional, the tattooing, because it's a big part of our culture back then, and we are in a middle of I guess, a renaissance of it. There's more people that are practicing, more exposure, and if people know Apawang Od, you know, the 100-plus-year-old up in the mountains of the Philippines, and you know, that is kind of an homage to her. I think that yeah, it will definitely have people, you know, kind of draw some dotted lines through these other things. Hey, isn't that so? Doesn't this remind me of this? And I think there's going to be more questions, and that's what we wanted, not to just put everything into a book or a documentary.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, it just made me remind myself again, I need to make an appointment, or if there's any practitioners out there watching this, your boy needs one. I'll give you all the promo, the plugs, hook your boy up. I love that. Yeah, just all those kind of cultural elements, just I really appreciate. And something that, you know, hopefully when I pass this book to my daughter, she'll be like, oh, and want to ask me more about that stuff, and I can teach her. And I thank you both for presenting that in that fashion, so that way I could help get her in tuned. And I love that. Another big thing that, you know, and unfortunately Jacob couldn't be here, your martial arts FMA consultant, that you flew all the way out, Kristian, like back last year when we were first talking, and you all got together. You hurt your back, I remember that, but you took a bunch of videos, pictures, to pass that on to Ponzi. Tell me why that was such an important thing for you both, to have that translated with DASIG and her. I'm sure because she's a young warrior trying to, you know, come into herself. But why was that so important to make that come across? Because really, you know, most speaking from a comic books background, I ain't flying nobody out. You know, you better watch some action films or something and get it right. But you went deep on that, man. I love that. If you both can tell me about that.
Yeah, I'll go. You want to go, Lauren?
No, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely important because a lot of people see, we felt, you know, it's hard to translate, like, quote unquote true martial arts into static pages. You could do it in film, but Jacob and I, and even Joe, who's the art director, we kind of grew up not just watching all the martial arts films, but then studied martial arts. We had these books. There are only a few, you know, in the 70s and 80s. Dan Inosanto had a book, and Dan Inosanto is known as the heir of Bruce Lee's martial art, and Dan Inosanto, father of Diana Lee Inosanto, shout out in Ashoka. They had these books, and they were teaching, you know, how to stick fight, Kali, our niece, and they have these diagrams where they show like the motions of like, all right, this is where the hand position is going to be, this is where it's going to end. And if you see the art, and we really wanted it to be intentionally, you know, like that, to kind of like, oh, hey, these remind me of these martial arts books in the 70s and 80s, because back then, you know, you couldn't really walk into a school or a garage like to learn some martial arts. You had to rely on books.
Love it. How about you, Lauren?
That's the first time I'm hearing that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It kind of makes me. Oh wait, actually, never mind. I was about to mention something that was it's from a Struck company and SAG for Stone Strike. So I'll save that reference for some other time. But yeah, when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense. I hadn't even thought of it in that way. And yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things that intrigued me to this project, which is the fact that that Filipino martial arts would have a big role in it. And I'm a bit of a martial arts junkie. I do have martial arts training. And while I do have some background in Filipino martial arts, it's, nowhere near to the extent of Jacob. So thank God we had him for this. Yeah, writing the scenes was interesting because it's like, how do you write a fight scene? And that's something that I've been trying to figure out, even in the case of like screenwriting. It's like, how do you do that? And I'm getting somewhat of a familiar idea for that now. But to have Jacob to work with and to have his reference videos and to look at that, I'm like, okay, so he does this like that. So if I could describe it like this, and it should be able to come across. And also because I'm writing as a script, and like, other than the dialogue, no one's going to be reading what I'm writing. I'm going to just be like, hey, Ponzi, watch the video that Jacob filmed for a clearer idea of what I'm describing. So
that's what I was I'm curious of, like, where just their massive descriptions, like, arm this way or whatever. Like, how detailed did you have to go to, get that point across with the illustrator and so on and so forth, and the reference videos? I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of it all, of just having Jacob's videos, having my written descriptions of it, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the innovative part was, we use a 360 camera, so we got all angles. So we even, all right, we got a top angle of like a wrist lock. We say, okay, this is, the angle that we want to show it, in the illustration. And I don't know, maybe I haven't been exposed, but yeah, I think it does sound a lot overboard, but it does stay true to the essence of, this is, the real deal. And it definitely is something that I think Philippine martial arts aficionados and practitioners will relate to. They're gonna know, like, okay, the philosophy behind some of the moves and the disarms and things like that.
Wow, I just love that attention to detail. But I just can't imagine just having all of that, which I think is so beautiful, so dope that you have that and you as a team put that together. But just like, okay, page 5, panel 6, arm, in this position or whatever. That just, woo!
It was very tedious. It was also a very tedious process, but we made it happen.
I love it. Congrats, y'all. That's so dope. Okay, so we put that all together. I don't know if we want to spoil or anything, but just again, I love how the story runs, and at the very end you hear a little bit of the connection to what we do know of that time period. Who's, without saying that, who was that the idea from the beginning, or did that come together at the close? I'm curious along the way as well about that. And as you see, I didn't mention it, so I'm doing a good job there.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about, or who you're talking about. I guess to my perspective first, yes, that was the intention from the beginning, that this person would have an integral role, but obviously not the main character because DASIG is fictional. But yeah, I guess it's, how do I put it? Maybe just like a different take on, because there have been multiple, not interpretations, but different stories shared about this person and during that time period. Like vastly different in some cases. And even though this is obviously a more historical fiction version of it, so I think I would hope that it still does this person just as well in showing what kind of person they were.
Yeah, and I would say there's multiple two persons. I mean, because there's the Darth Vader to the Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Yoda, and I think that yes, Lauren said. In fact, there was a movie that was just released earlier this month that is around that topic. I won't mention it. People that know, but I think our take is much more different. And I think, and I'll say it, that like one of the ideas that I mentioned to Lauren is like, Lauren can bring in, like, we want this to be more commercially viable, more accessible. say, yeah, let's make like a Disney princess movie, but make it hella violent. And that's the stuff that, a lot of us grew up with, and we have stuff for kids already, but come on, let's make some stuff, for adults. And,
you know what? Like DASIG meets 300. I'm all for it. I'll give you, here's all the money. Like that, the memes are going right now. Like DASIG meets 300 cinematically. Come on now. I'm with it. Like that's already got me thinking because I read the book.
Yeah. And you mentioned cinematic. That was one of the things that I had to work with Joe, our art director. I told him, like, I want to make this thing where it looks like it's screenshots from the actual film, so that there are parts in the pages when you look at it, there's no dialogue. There's nothing. There's just backgrounds. And, that's to me like a throwback to like the old Sanjuro, Yojimbo movies, spaghetti westerns, and all of those, and Lone Wolf and Cub, and these really great classic martial arts movies that there's a lot of silence and a lot of violence. So I think that, but there's also lessons as well, and I think those influences, kind of created this world of DASIG that Lauren put together in a really good package.
No, I love that. I can throw a bunch of great American comics and manga that just by panels tells a story without any word balloons or anything like that. I love that you guys did that and trust in the art to tell sort of, and the breakdowns that you gave the artist to, as the writer to tell the story can just come across in a whole nother fashion. I love that. So with that being said, without any spoilers, but just how that presentation was done, I think it leaves it very open-ended for a part 2, y'all. I don't know. I know y'all in right now. We just got one out, y'all. But Patrick, stop talking about part 2 right now. We need to push number 1 right now. But I love that it kind of gives it some open-endedness in a way, and also freedom, because there's parts of the story that you didn't tell that could go into especially this character, because to me you've given us a new character within that indigenous universe, if you will, you know what I'm saying, of our history, right? And then you have that tie that happens there at the very end. But is that a plan, or is that too much in the future right now, and you guys don't want to get into that? I know we wanted to get this into an animated universe, and again, like, I want a 300 or whatever of this, but as a fan, I'm gonna bring it up, man.
Yeah, I'll give you an exclusive. So an exclusive, we haven't told anyone this, that the original was going to include some sort of time travel or interdimension aspect.
Ooh.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay. Lauren said it was too much.
Lauren's like, don't spoil my scripts now.
It's already 140 pages. It would have been like 250 or, some what's that manga bus that's 500 pages. Yeah,
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. It didn't add a ton. It just felt like didn't feel like it was necessary for the story.
For right now?
For now.
Okay, I dig it. If I could also talk on, since you bring up like future, past, and everything, there's a very powerful page within the book that probably is my favorite page, where I'm not sure, again, I read it late last night, but like, we're seeing into the future. I forgot what the situation was, but I really appreciated that. And a warning of things to happen. Can we talk on that without any spoilers or anything like that?
Well, that was our compromise. That was my compromise with Lauren.
Oh, really? Was that tied to that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's it.
So that part. Yeah. So that part, like seeing in the future, and the person that has the abilities to do that, speaks to a person within the community before that was that spiritual guide or fortune teller or truth seeker, whatever you want to call it, healer. And yeah, there's a lot of things where we kind of left like Easter eggs, and all right, we can't do this part, and then all right, maybe that's again where Lauren did a good job of like putting some things in there that can possibly open up into some sort of whether part 2 or another universe or a spinoff.
Okay, Lauren, got something to say about that, or your feelings about that particular sequence?
About that sequence in particular? I felt that Ponzi did a really good job illustrating it. And I think for those who know will understand where we're coming from on that, because it's foretelling the future. But maybe for those who don't know, it'll be an education.
Now, here's the question I have a little bit about that, which I love it. I appreciate it. I think Lauren knows me in a lot of different respects. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not afraid of my beliefs in a lot of different ways. What you see is what you get. But sometimes when you're like we're all creatives here, when you put your beliefs into your content, you got to be careful, especially if you're trying to reach a wider mass market audience. How do you both feel about that? Do you you put that in there, in certain respects. And again, I'm trying to be careful with spoiling. But was there conversation about that? And how do you both feel about putting your own feelings or things into the work and when you're trying to reach a wide audience, but also not limit yourself? How do you both feel about that?
How do you want to go about this, Kristian?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. At least in the case of that particular scene, I didn't really see it so much as putting my beliefs into something. I'm just like, no, this is what actually happened. This is what eventually, at least from that time, would eventually happen. So like, I don't know. I didn't really see it that way, at least for me.
I think, without saying spoilers, but I will say that this book would definitely probably get banned in Florida, in Alabama. No offense to anybody that lives there, but it was definitely would get banned and may be considered a woke book, And I mean, just by simply having a woman as the protagonist. But I think that, you have to figure out that balance. And there was definitely some things that, we held back, but it was very minimal. I mean, if you see it, it's violent and it does, it's not preachy, which, I can see someone not understanding the culture would say, oh, you're trying to indoctrinate to socialism or, whatever, banned on Fox News or whatever, which actually would be a good thing. I bet we would sell a lot more if it was banned. I'm going to send some to the school districts in those areas. But yeah, no, I think for me personally, I think that the views and, we are in California, we are in the Bay Area, and the people involved are quite aware of like the effects that took place and what happened. And like Lauren said, the visions that are shown on that, that page, which, could be scary and trigger some people. But, those things that were illustrated, all of them did happen. It's not like we were making things up.
Yeah, I think when they're truths, they're actual documented history. It's the ugly history that people don't want to confront, and people want to rewrite that stuff and act like it happened. So if you're presenting truths, it's if you want to take it one way, whatever. Again, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm now so old I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language, but and I'm gonna just be real with you and just put it out there, and I put that into the material. When people ask me like, shouldn't I? I'm like, you're gonna have to make the decision on your own. But if it's truths, it's documented history or whatever, then they're arguing history. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel that strongly in it, it adds value, and it's part of the momentum of whatever that project or the script, of the character or whatever, and the means of the story, then keep it there. I think people are going to more so ride for you than not ride for you with that. So anyway, we'll move on from that, but I appreciate your, if it was something that was something that you were maybe thinking not to do, I appreciate it from as a reader and, a Filipino and as just the culture, like we're not shying away from these things, and we're presenting the truth, because a lot of people now get afraid because of monetary reasons to not put the truth in there, just so they can reach a wider audience. I think at the end of the day, what are you about, the money, or are you about being real to the community? And I'd rather be real to the community.
Yeah, or it's gonna take a hell of a lot of money. So you want to take that page out in animation? All right, it's gonna cost 20 million, and then I could take that money and then reinvest on something else, and then we could do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, shoot, I want y'all to go harder, shit, to be honest. But anyway, maybe part 2. Yes. So it's out now, everybody. DASIG. I'm gonna have the links in the description below. DASIG.ph. Go get those books. But they're also, you guys recently had your first, I guess, festival. I think we at Undiscovered, or I'm not sure if it was Undiscovered. But you all have some appearances coming soon, and people can actually get the book from you, get signatures, get their cool little T-shirt like I got right here, y'all. Get your T-shirts, rock the SIG, show love. Can we talk about, some of the upcoming appearances and how people can check it out and get the books from you guys?
Oh, I guess I'm doing that. Yeah, we were at Undiscovered SF this past weekend. That's where we had our launch event. Undiscovered, for those who don't know, is a Filipino-American block party that's held, I think 3 months out of the year in San Francisco and Soma, Pilipinas. Like I said before, we had a really good turnout. Most of the books that we made available there were sold, which is great. And that won't be the last you hear from us this year. And I guess it's okay to say this. So we will be at Fan Expo San Francisco next month, which will be the weekend immediately following Thanksgiving. And we will also be at LA Comic-Con in early December.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So next 2 big shows, everybody go get your copies, get it autographed, get it signed before they both blow up. But we want them to blow up so we can also get that 300 animated DASIG, film and or animation, or both. I'll take them both. And part 2 and all of that. And I'm so excited for y'all. I just love it for the culture and for the people, and just I appreciate y'all coming back through to just tell me about it again, and just this journey. I know it was hard. Was there anything else again along the way that you both learned in this process, maybe even on a creative standpoint? Because I have a bunch of creators that watch this, and that you would recommend along the way that you've kind of learned maybe the hard way, and or just things you suggest out there for the people.
Organizing thoughts. I use Trello. So Trello, able to put in storyboards was really good. The challenge is getting everybody to buy in, because everyone has their own way. Like, say, Joe is old school, Ponzi has his own workflow, Laura, but I think Trello is a really good tool just to drop in ideas, and that's where I put in the ideas for tattoos and some YouTube links, some synopsis, and just the general character development. But Trello is a really good tool for anybody out there that's looking to manage a project.
Okay. How about you, Lauren? Communicating with the artists, going back and forth. Did it go start with Kristian, go to you? Did you guys take turns in between different things, or was just was it ongoing communication throughout the projects? What was that like in regards to and benefits and things you've learned while doing this?
It was an ongoing communication throughout the process. Just all of us on a constant, very long email thread of just sending out updated drafts of the script, saying, hey, new script is out. Here are the changes that were made on these pages, and just assure them that they know where to take it from there. But yeah, if there's any advice to say from this, is communication is very important.
Definitely agree. All right, y'all. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait for the rest of the world to enjoy the book that I enjoyed last night, and will be enjoying again and sharing with my daughter. Everybody, DASIG, got yours, LA Comic-Con. Where else did you say you're going to? What's at the end of the month or next month?
We're doing Fan Expo.
Fan Expo. Francisco. Awesome. But also right now, again, I'm gonna have the links in the description, y'all. DASIG.ph. You can get it straight from Lauren and Kristian right now, and then get the signatures at the shows and all of that, and beg for part 2, like I will, because I want to see part 2. I want to see this story continue, because without spoiling, there's some open-endedness there that I think there's more area of story to tell. Or if anything, if y'all get hit a roadblock, I'll let your boy. I'll come in there to chip in with Lauren and throw some words in there, because I think there's some stuff to have fun with this character. I think it's great, guys. I'm so proud of you both. I love it. Is there anything else outside of DASIG before I let y'all go? Kristian, man, you have an amazing. I've been a fan of your calligraphy work, the work you do with our lettering style. You have your own clothing line as well. I just want to just throw some more love on just other things you guys have going on. So if I can throw it to you first, Kristian, and then I know my Nerds of Color fam over there, Lauren, has some stuff going on too.
Yeah, I mean, what I have to say, like, just learning and seeing Lauren go through the process of writing, and I thought, shoot, I should try this. So I wrote a little something, and it's almost done. It's called Apoy ni Lakapati, Fire of Lakapati, and it's about the environment. It's about tattooing. It's about sexuality. A little short story. And I'm working with an artist in the Philippines, and I said, you know what, let me try my hand at this, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh, dope. Well, as that comes together, please let's talk again. I'd love to show love and give you flowers on that and help you spread the word. That's dope. And everybody, Kabuay.com, and I know I'm fucking up his name again. I'm gonna have all those links in the description. You can go buy his dope shirts, get some lettering done. He'll put your name like you did. I think you did mine. I think I hit you up and you did one of me. Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, have your name done in actual lettering from our culture, y'all. Super dope. You're gonna want to put it on your wall like I have it in mine. It's in my other studio upstairs where my wife sits. Just dope. You'll love it. Shout out to Kristian, man. All the awesome stuff you can get from him. Lauren, you're killing it. I think you got down with giant size lumpia, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Kid Heroes, my boy Patricio. I know you're dipping over there. And anything else you got going on?
Yeah, I guess just to amplify that a little bit further, yes, I did write a comic for the newest Lumpia comic book called Giant Size Lumpia. Mine is called My Sassy Samosa, but they're not naming the comics, which I found out recently. So just look for the comic that's at Bucktown High School. That will be the one that I wrote. And then I guess something else to mention real quick. I am enrolled in the professional program in screenwriting at UCLA. And so I am writing 2 feature-length screenplays by June of next year.
Wow.
Yeah. And they both are centered on mixed Filipino-American characters.
Girl, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome. 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 Well, again, Lauren, Kristian, you both are super dope. Again, congrats on this amazing project. Everybody, all the links are in the description below. Go over there. Once you're done with this interview, go cop the books, cop the gear, cop it all. Go see them when they make their appearances at Fan Expo and LA Comic Con. Super dope peoples, man. And I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, all the links in the description below. It's your boy Kuya P. It's been a long day, long night, but I'm super excited because I got to spend it with some friends real quick. That's been another ShoPowSho, y'all. As we always end it, mahal kita, salamat.
Salamat.